Hello, my friends. Welcome back, or welcome for the first time. My name is Drake, and this is Touching the Edge, and I'm so delighted to see you here today. I'm delighted to see you because this is such a powerful time. This is the time that we have the opportunity to take responsibility. Responsibility. To take responsibility is actually to receive the power to respond to what is. And I want to suggest that a lot of that has to do with our relationship to our own emotions. And our own emotions are what we use to fuel our opinion. We fuel our opinion with our emotions, and what our opinion is also fuels our emotions. So they bounce back and forth and intensify. And I'd like to suggest that to me, this relates as an example to this idea of cooking. I'm not claiming to be a great cook, but I am aware of this idea of making a reduction. When you're simmering something, and as you're simmering it, it gradually becomes more concentrated and really becomes thicker and stickier. This is this relationship to simmering our emotions, and it happens to a lot of our emotions. One of those emotions that it happens to is that relationship of the spectrum from resentment all the way through hatred. So, we have something happen. Maybe we get irritated or maybe become a little bit angry, and that is a one-time event, but we're able to let it go. But if we continue to simmer that anger at a low level, then gradually that anger begins to become more condensed and more intensified and stickier, and it's actually harder to get rid of it. It becomes like a tar that adheres itself to you. So I want to suggest that the longer we simmer this resentment, it becomes even more thick, even more condensed, all the way to the point that it becomes hatred. I remember there was a song by The Clash called Waiting for the Clampdown, and it talked about how anger can be power. You can use it. I would like to suggest that when anger at a certain level intensifies and becomes condensed at a certain level, you can no longer use it. It uses you. And so I want to suggest the realization of changing our relationship to our emotions and changing our way of how we define things. When we talk about elements like evil, as an example, when we have that relationship to evil, we find ourselves stepping into hatred with that evil. And I'm not saying that we should be accepting evil. Evil to me is something that's distinctly human. I don't think that we can really claim usually that animals are evil, because we see them as so part of the natural world. But I would suggest that evil is a form of distinctly human sickness. To me, evil is a sickness. But when we identify with that sickness in terms of that being evil, we have to also recognize that those are also claiming that this side is evil. And I don't think that that really works. When you develop hatred at a certain level, and we want to understand that hatred is not love. When you have someone consumed with hatred, they're not really loving. In fact, when someone hates enough, they're willing to destroy themselves in order to destroy that object which they hate. So taking responsibility is really recognizing that all of this is part of us. We are one family. We need, in my perception, to take responsibility for what's going on in Ukraine. Not by claiming that, those who would wipe out a country are evil, or maybe, yes, that is evil, but recognizing that it is a distinctly related process to illness. Understanding the process that evil comes about. I don't think that anything is more evil than what we would call being a pedophile. And yet, we also can recognize that a sequence of events is often responsible to create that distinctly sick human being who is a pedophile. So let's take responsibility. Let's take responsibility with the ability to respond, not by hiding from what is, but stepping towards what is. Not by ignoring what we feel is right, but changing our relationship to it so that we can actually hear the other person. If we don't do this, what ends up happening is we end up in a death match with that which we feel is evil, rather than trying to work to understand and change that relationship. We work to destroy. And to me, that's not the most powerful way. So I want to ask you to consider taking responsibility by recognizing that we are all one family, all brothers and sisters, and that which we see other people doing on some level we have within ourselves. So the first place to take responsibility, in my perception, is in changing our relationship with our emotions, not keeping them on simmer, not thinking about the bad people all the time, making sure that we're taking breaks, making sure that we're taking care, making sure that we're concentrating in love. The Buddha said that you cannot wash away blood with blood, and I want to suggest that you can't end hate by hating. So it's just my perception. I'm curious about yours, but I do want to ask you to take responsibility, get politically active, but don't just do it from a feeling of anger and hatred, but do it in a committed desire to see positive change in the end of intolerance. Not just intolerance towards your group, but intolerance towards any group, so that we're able to truly listen. And as we listen, truly create positive change. So thank you for joining me here today. Please join me throughout the 40 days and let me know what you perceive. It means a lot. I'm going to ring the bell. I'm going to ask you to listen carefully. Here we go. To be the change you want to see in the world is to recognize that all humanity is inside of you. I bring my hands into prayer position and I bow to you because I know you are the one that can make a difference. Namaste, my friend. Have a wonderful and powerful day.